Hello, accountability buddies. This is Les with another episode of Less is More Healthy, and I am recording this from my car on my way to work as I engage in the morning crappy commute via car instead of by bike. Um, Again, I was not able to get my butt in gear and get my butt out the door to go for some exercise this morning. However, what I will be doing is tonight I'm going to go for a bike ride after work. So today is supposed to be, or this evening is supposed to be a little less hot than the last week. Um, so I'm hoping that if I can get out and get, 5 to 10 miles in, I'll feel good, and I'll feel good about getting that in. So that's gonna happen tonight. So I will get some exercise in, feel good about that. Um, and let's see, what have I been talking about? I've been talking about old eating habits and sliding back into bad eating, or I don't want to say bad eating habits. I don't want to villainize eating in any way because it's a necessary thing, but like the reality of like the eating habits that weren't good for my body. uh so I've been talking about that. I had other things that I wanted to talk about. Maybe I should think about that before I hit record, right? Um yeah. So one of the things I'll just, instead of making this like a health vlog for today, I want to talk about bikes today. So every now and then I get an idea about something in the bike world that I would like, and I have been fixated on mixte or mixed bikes for a really long time. I think I first saw a mixte bike back in the very, very late 90s. Someone was riding one around the city that I lived in, and it just looked amazing to me. It was so cool. It had these two top tubes that came down and connect to the rear tire, the chainstay, and then there was like another tube. Just the whole lines of the bike looked really cool to me. And I wanted one, but I could never find one that was affordable and the right size. So I've been keeping an eye out on Facebook Marketplace looking for one, and I found a couple that are probably in the right size range for me, but need a lot of work. So I would be building this bike up pretty much from the ground, and that's fine. That's fine. But and actually, really, what I kind of enjoy. So I am thinking about getting another bike specifically and only to use for commuting and getting around town instead of using the car. Um, and, that brings me back to a few years ago, actually, just before the pandemic. We've been a one car household, I think, for like the last 10, 12, over 12 years, we've been a single car household. And part of that is like we have ample public transportation around here. We have a pretty decent bus system. We also have the commuter rail. We're not far from the MBTA, so the T is here. And you can get pretty much anywhere pretty easily through public transportation. Now, is it perfect? No. And actually, I'm just gonna say, it's largely a pain in the ass. It's slow. Um, the bus only comes at certain times, and it's just kind of a pain to like, okay, when is the bus coming? And because of the pandemic, the bus schedule has changed a lot. So um, the big thing, the reason that we ended up actually getting this car, is because for grocery shopping. It is miserable to grocery shop without a car in Massachusetts. And I grew up, where you did your grocery shopping for the full week at one time versus going stopping every day after work, which just always feels like a lot of work to me. So I usually will still pick up a couple of days worth of groceries, um, and instead of doing the single day shop. A lot of my friends do the single day shop, which is much easier to do if you're only picking up a day's worth of groceries at a time. And so my wife also grew up in a family that did a week's worth of grocery shopping at once. So I think that was the grocery shopping was really what put the nail in the coffin for living car free for us. But I would like to add back in to my existence some of that car free ideal, or I'm trying to think of like the right way to put it, like the car free existence. So, like using a bike for some shopping, using, walking to do some shopping, and just using that as like a supplement for doing that larger shop on a weekly basis. Um, so all of that happening and being said, so I really want to have a bike that I am using for commuting versus like using, well, and it's kind of silly because like the Kona can be used for anything, right? Like I can use that bike to go anywhere and do anything. It's a great bike. um but uh a commuter bike, I would like to have maybe wideish, like street tires, slicks on it, because I would be still going on the rail trail with it to get to work and back from work. But having larger road tires on it just seems to make sense. Or like the same sort of tire that I have on my wife's bike. The bike that tires I used to ride when I was riding that bike. Slight knobbies that have very low rolling resistance, and just move on the tar very easily. Um, but you can hear probably that I am working myself into buying one of these bike frames that needs some work, so that I can build up a commuter bike that I plan on using a lot. And do I need another bike? No. Do I want another bike? Yeah, I do. Um, is it necessary for me to get this bike? No, because I can pretty much do anything that I'm interested in on the Kona. It's not necessary for me to have a commuter bike. I just kind of want one. And now that I'm finding some kind of beaten up mixte frames, I really want to get one and save it from the trash, and build it up and do something fun with it. Maybe do a fun paint job on it. Um, and I think that would be a really fun winter project to do. Um, taking a frame that is kind of in sad, broken shape and turning it into a really functional commuter bike that's going to get used a lot next summer. So and I think that like brings me to my future cycling goals. One of which is, next summer I would really like to ride my bike to work um, all summer long, as much as is possible, so that I'm continuing with my health and wellness and all of that. But I'm also not only working on my health and my wellness on the weekends, because that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing right now. Like I'm ignoring the exercise during the week while I've got kids in my groups. And I need to integrate that exercise into my everyday work week. And so I'm thinking about that in terms of like having a bike frame that is specifically for commuting and grocery shopping is something that is not going to be the bike that I am riding on tours and things like that. Although I do think it would be super rad to kind of ride a mixte on a bike tour because it's just not done. People don't ride mixte bikes on bike tours. So anyway, that's kind of like the dangerous purchase location my brain is at right now, which is do I buy one of these beaten up frames? Do I buy one of the modern uh, revamps of a mixte frame? Because there are a number of them. Schwinn's got one. Raleigh's got one. Or do I? I think I. You know what? I think I really want to take one of these antique beaten up frames, strip it down, repaint it with something super cool, and do all of that fun stuff with it. Because I really find building up an old busted frame into something usable really satisfying. I mean, the Kona wasn't broken, it just needed some adapting to turn it into a modern adventure bike. And it's doing that fantastically. It's such a comfortable bike. And it's super cool looking. So I also think I'm going to strip the Kona down this winter and repaint it. I think I'm looking at doing um, a sort of midnight blue call out to its original colors, but with that color shift paint. A single rattle can of that is going to cover that whole bike. And the fork will stay gold, but like stripping all that down, making it look really modern. Um, and I think also, updating some of the other components on that bike is really going to make it just really sing in terms of like a touring bike. Anyway, that's what I got for you for today. And I appreciate you sticking through and watching these videos. I know that the discussion of the bike isn't for everyone, the discussion of health and wellness isn't for everyone. So that's where I'm at. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.